That was interesting though. There's a lot of people who just will not play indie games just because they're indie games. We have to think about this too. There's a lot of AAA games that just fucking suck and killed franchises, like Dead Space 3. Um, I know a lot of people don't like Fear 3. Um, what's another good example? On Mario Sunshine for GameCube. They just didn't like it. They don't like the idea of using a squirt gun or whatever. But even like, there's a lot of AAA games for Xbox One, PC, and PS4 that just are just trash. Like nobody likes the new Avengers game, and that's a AAA game. I don't know. I just think people have double standards when it comes to games. It's like you won't play this, but you'll play this shit instead. I'm just like, okay. I could play nothing but AAA games, but just a lot of them are fucking trash. I'm sure there's a lot of bad indie games, but it's like you won't play games just because they're indie games. It's pretty sorry sorry ass excuse for not wanting to play like indie games just because they're indie. To me, you're very just like narrow-minded. You won't play indie games just because they're indie games. I mean, Overwatch is a AAA game, but it fucking sucks. Like, the only way to enjoy Overwatch is to get good teammates. Like, that's the only way. There's no single player, and it's just like full of people who don't want to play the game correctly. But it's like, alright. But we'll give it Game of the Year. Just because it looks good. I think that's a problem with a lot of people who play games. They just play games just because they look good. And they forget about gameplay. I've told people that too during like the Sega Genesis days. They were trying to compare Sega Genesis to old Nintendo. I'm like, yeah, some of the games look good, but a lot of games on Sega Genesis fucking suck. Even though there are a lot of good games for Sega Genesis. But Sega Genesis had a problem too. It had a problem with like RPGs. Like there was not that many good RPGs on Sega Genesis. And the fighting games were not that good either. I mean, if you look at like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, it was just a lot, it ran and sounded and looked a lot better on Super Nintendo. Especially when Killer Instinct came out. Oh man, that was like the best fighting game during that time. Not just that, Sega had the problem with the 3-button controller. It's like you had to buy a 6-button controller. Pretty obnoxious. And Turtles Tournament Fighter is like 100 times better on Super Nintendo. And Square Enix would kept making RPGs for Super Nintendo, like Mario RPG, Final Fantasy VI, and Chrono Trigger. Plus you had Ogre Battle. And then you can buy a reproduction cart of Terranigma. Sega also had the problem of not getting any Mega Man games. I mean, if you don't like Mega Man, you probably just suck at video games in general. Especially like Mega Man 7 and Mega Man X and X2. Probably some of the best Mega Man games. And they had some of the best shooters too, like UN Squadron, Contra 3. I think the only good shooters for Genesis were like, there was a Contra for Genesis, but I don't know. It didn't look as good as Super Nintendo Contra. They also didn't have UN Squadron. They didn't have R-Type. What was it? R-Type 3. Oh yeah, and you can also get reproduction carts of the poppin' Twin Bee games now. I don't know why Super Nintendo has so many good imports, but they just didn't bring them to America. Like, I don't know why. Like, the poppin' Twin Bee games were just shooters. Like, why can't you not bring these to America? I mean, what is... like, what don't you understand? Oh yeah, Super Nintendo also had the Ninja Gaiden trilogy. I think it's like almost $300 now. If you want to buy a reproduction cart. I need to kill all these guys. They're just gonna get in my way. I wish this area had some, like... This area just looks ugly. Like, there needs to be, like, patterns on the floors and the walls. Like, just having no patterns at all just makes it look really generic. I mean, the final boss looks okay. These black vines, thorns coming out of them, they look fine. But other than that, this area would be fine. I mean, the controls for this game are fine. Like the jumping and the physics, like everything about it is fine. Just need to add more textures. The music for this area is kind of weird. Killing all the enemies makes this area easier because these guys try to get in your way. It's pretty obvious what you need to do in this area. I just need to get some water. Sega Dreamcast also had a problem too of like RPGs, and they had Skies of Arcadia. I think that was pretty much it. They just couldn't get RPGs from Square Enix, like FF7, Parasite Eve, Threads of Fate, and of course Sony had Legend of Dragoon. What else do they have? Oh, yeah, Legend of Gaia, Jade-Cocoon, like Vandal Hearts. Those were all some of the best RPGs. Thousand Arms was kind of like more of an obscure RPG. Then they had the problem too of not getting. I don't think they got. They had Code Veronica, and I think that was it. I don't think they got Resident Evil 4. I think it was too late. I think that's when the Dreamcast was dying. What would have made the Dreamcast really good is if they made a Streets of Rage, but I guess they had Shenmue. Kind of weird they decided to go with Shenmue instead of Streets of Rage. I mean, they already had a beat 'em up franchise. It's kind of like they just decided to let it go. But from what I heard, Shenmue 3 is fucking trash. At least Streets of Rage 4 was supposed to be pretty good. Just seems kind of like a weird decision. It's like you already have a beat 'em up genre. Why make another one that's almost the same? And they couldn't bring back Golden Axe for Dreamcast. That would have been nice. Or Altered Beast. They tried bringing Altered Beast back on PS2, which was a piece of shit. Somehow Sonic Adventures 1 and 2 for Dreamcast were not that bad. But Sony already had like all the best survival horror games. They had Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, and then they had Silent Hill. I could only imagine Silent Hill on Dreamcast. It would have looked so nice. Or Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 on Dreamcast. They could have had like a Resident Evil collection for Dreamcast. They would have to get Capcom. I think Sega just always has this problem of like just having nothing but like a ton of sports games. That's the same reason why I didn't get Xbox. Like a ton of sports games like I don't care about. At least they had Jet Grind Radio, which was pretty good. There wasn't that many like more unique games like that on Dreamcast. I don't think they even had Knights on Dreamcast, which is another game that was pretty much only came out on Saturn. Then they tried having it for Wii, which I don't think was as good as the Saturn version. Alright, so I got the... this is the last one I need to get. Yeah, this is the last one. Yeah, this game's not that bad. I would just fix like putting patterns on some of these textures. So when you look at the ground, it's not just brown. There's actually like rocks and everything else that give it more texture. Maybe if they make a third game, they'll add more textures and like fix the power-ups, because like you don't need to get the power-ups in this game. Maybe in part 3 they'll make it so you have to get power-ups to progress certain areas, like a triple jump. And there's no reason to add 3 leaves when all you need to do is get the blue one. Like you can skip the other leaves. Overall, it's not really a bad game. I could be playing worse games like Avengers or Last of Us 2. Or fucking Dead Space 3. That game's a piece of shit. Or Resident Evil 6. Okay. If you want to do like bonus things, there's the 12 flowers you can get, and there's like these there's four guys you can rescue in the band. Like these band members. I think I rescued one of them, so there's only 3 more I need to get. And there's 12 of these flowers you can get. But I'm pretty much done for this game. I might beat Grim Valor probably next. Just show the last boss for Captain Toad.